Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Neo-Spacian deck. Now this deck was requested by Rocco Palermo, and Jonas Linder also requested sort of a deck like this with like Neo-Spacians and elemental heroes, but without using the elemental fusions, which would make the deck not be able to fuse. So I didn't go that route, but I decided to do Neo-Spacians, try to make a couple people happy, and I'm sure some people want to see this type of deck. Before I get right into it, just so you guys know, if you want the most competitive Neo-Space deck, you should probably just do Air Neos OTK, which I have a version of. But this deck's obviously a lot more fun and focuses on, bringing out a lot of the different Neo-Spacians. So first off, we're going to have 3 Elemental Hero Prisma, just very nice for this deck, setting up what you need to do to get out those fusions. Then we have 2 Aqua Dolphin. Obviously his effect is not so great and his attack's pretty terrible, but again, we need cards like this in order to bring out our fusions. And then 2 Pathfinder. Somewhat of a beater, helps us because it's light, and helps us because we could search out Neo-Space even from the graveyard, which is very nice. And then 2 Neos Alius, just, the better version of Neos that we can get out a lot more easily, and obviously a beater on top of it. And then 2 of the normal Neos, obviously helping us out again to do those fusions. And then 1 Neo-Spacian Grand Mole, obviously because he's limited. A great card overall, but obviously a Neo-Spacian card. And then 1 Flare Scarab. His effect's not so great because it requires a lot of spells and traps to even make him, get up to 1700 attack. But more so that we'll be using him for the fusions. And then 1 Dark Panther. 1000 attack, not so bad compared to a lot of the Neo-Spacians. And being able to use the effect of your opponents is really powerful with how some of the effects are nowadays. And then 1 Bubbleman, just helping us out to bring out, those water fusions, having another elemental hero. And then 1 Air Hummingbird. Not a bad card when you consider the life point gain, and the 800 attack is not horrible compared to the other ones, but obviously used to get out Air Neos, which is very powerful. And now for the spells, we're going to be running 3 Neo-Space, obviously very important just to keep our fusions out there. The 500 attack boost is great, but more importantly that we don't lose our fusions, which is I think the worst part about this deck. And then 3 Miracle Fusion, obviously really nice, giving us access to even more fusions that we can do. And then 3 Miracle Contact, just another easy way to fusion summon again. Between Miracle Fusion and Miracle Contact, we're going to be able to bring out a lot of different fusion monsters. And then 2 Forbidden Lance. I think Forbidden Lance is necessary in a deck like this to protect those very powerful fusion monsters. And then 2 Convert Contact, really nice for this deck, giving us draw power on top of setting up the graveyard, which is really nice with how our fusion cards work. And then 2 MST, 2 Emergency Call, searching out our heroes, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, searching out our warriors. 1 Wrath of Neos. I'm just using this card for fun. It's up to you if you want to use it. You could definitely put a lot of other cards in here, but I just thought this could be really, really interesting in certain situations to really blow up your opponent. I don't think they'll see this coming. And then, just a few staple traps, not much room. You need a lot of spell support in this deck and a lot of different monsters, so it's kind of tricky to support this deck with a lot of traps. But having some back row is definitely nice to protect your weaker monsters. And now for the extra deck, obviously we're going to have a lot of these Neos fusions, so Flare Neos can be very powerful. Aqua Neos can be very nice to get rid of your opponent's cards. Air Neos, we know, is just crazy, especially with, OTKs and stuff like that. And then Dark Neos, just nice to negate effects. And Magma Neos can be rare, obviously, to get this out, but can be very, very powerful. Can get a huge attack boost. And then Grand Neos, just like, Neo-Spacian, can help you bounce things. And Storm Neos, obviously another one that's a little bit hard to get out, but very, very powerful, is a heavy storm in itself and has 3000 attack. And then, just a few of those elemental fusions, the Shining, Absolute Zero, Gaia, you can run more or less if you want. Some XYZs, Silent Honor, Exciton, very powerful. Excalibur with warriors can be very nice. And Gagaga and Maestroke I find to be very useful, overall for generic 4 stars. So now for the side deck. Side decks in my videos, if you haven't seen it before, these are just cards I want you to think about when you're building your own deck like this. I don't want you guys to consider this for like a side deck for matches. This isn't for siding against the meta, things like that. These are just cards I want you to think about. So obviously I'm not running Glow Moss. I just think Glow Moss is pretty bad, with his low attack and his kind of random effects, so I don't think it's worth it. If you do run him, you can run the fusions like Glow Neos and Chaos Neos if you want. Still not a big fan of those. Cross Porter is another interesting one to kind of bring out Neo-Spacians. Again, there's other fusions you could run. You can run Neos Knight, Nova Master because you have Flare Scarab, Great Tornado you can run, especially based on how many Hummingbirds you have. Escuridao you can run because you're running Dark Panther. It's up to you, but his effect isn't that amazing. If you want, you could run, obviously other XYZs. I didn't really have room for more XYZs, but you could run 3 stars to try to protect your, weaker Neo-Spacians, which could be really useful. And things like Blade Armor Ninja. There's a bunch of other XYZs you could run. Instant Neospace is another interesting one, but I'd rather focus on Neospace to continually, keep my fusions out. I'm not a big fan of it, honestly, but it's up to you. You can run it if you want. Contact Out, basically like defusion for this deck, can be very powerful, especially if you're going to lose your monsters, so that's definitely an interesting choice, and I highly recommend running this if you think it'll work out for you. And Neos Force is just a really, weird one that gives your Neos some attack boost and allows you to do some additional damage, but not a big fan of it. Gemini Spark, obviously we're running, Neos Alius, so you can run Gemini support like this, which could be helpful. And Oversoul can help you bring out Elemental Hero Neos because you'll be sending him to the graveyard a lot, so that's an interesting choice. There's a lot of other things you could run, like I've seen some people run like a Hero Lives, to bring out Prisma or Neo. So there's other things you could do. It's really up to you. There's a lot of different things. You could run more back row, Fiendish Chain. You could run Effect Failure, deal with more effects, and do synchros and a bunch of other stuff if you really want to do that. So that's my Neo-Spacian deck. If you guys have your own Neo-Spacian decks, you can post below. Let me know in the comments. Talk about what cards you use. You can make recommendations for me and that kind of thing. Obviously, this was a deck request. If you do have a deck request for me, you can post in my deck request video. I'll put a link to it in the video. I only take deck requests through that specific video, so if you don't post there, I won't see it or I won't consider it. There will be a new deck request video today, so I'm going to be making a new one for May. So definitely, if you have some ideas for deck requests, hold on until that gets put up and you can post there. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.